before you even think about investing in any cryptocurrency, there's one fundamental concept you absolutely must understand. It's not about trading strategies. It's not about reading complex charts. It's not even about the deep-down details of blockchain technology. It's something called tokenomics. In this video, I'm going to explain tokenomics in the simplest way possible. No jargon, no complicated math, just the core ideas you need to know. And by the end of this, you'll finally understand why some crypto projects shoot for the moon and succeed, while so many others just quietly fizzle out and fail. So, let's start with the big question. What exactly is tokenomics? It is a word that sounds a bit technical, but it is actually a simple blend of two words, token and economics. In essence, Tokenomics explains the economic rules and policies of a crypto. It tells you how a crypto token works inside its own little world, its ecosystem. Think about it like this. If a cryptocurrency project were a country, then its tokenomics would be its economic system. It would be its monetary policy, its tax system, its trade rules, everything that governs how money flows and what gives that money value. Tokenomics answers some of the most critical questions you should be asking before you invest a single dollar. Questions like, how many of these tokens will ever exist? Who currently owns them? Is it a small group of insiders or a wide community? And perhaps the most important question of all, why would anyone even want to hold or use this token in the first place? What's its purpose? Now, let's talk about a common mistake I see all the time, which I call the price trap. So many beginners get fixated on the price of a token. They'll browse a crypto exchange, find a token that costs a fraction of a cent, and the first thought that pops into their head is, wow, this is so cheap. If this just goes to $1, or even just 10 cents, I'll be rich. But here's the hard truth. Price, by itself, means absolutely nothing without understanding the tokenomics behind it. A token can look incredibly cheap, but actually be massively overvalued. On the other hand, a token that looks expensive, maybe hundreds or thousands of dollars per coin, could still be incredibly undervalued with huge potential for growth. Tokenomics is the tool that helps you look past the price tag and discover the real, fundamental value or lack thereof behind the ticker symbol. Let's use an analogy to make this even clearer. Imagine you heard about a new country. In this country, the government prints money nonstop. Wheat, no limit. Nobody really knows who controls the printing press, but you hear whispers that a few powerful people at the top get all the new money first. And worst of all, there's nothing really to buy with this currency. The shops are empty, there are no services, no industry. Would you trust that country's currency? Would you convert your hard-earned money into it, hoping it will hold its value? Of course, not. It sounds like a recipe for disaster. Well, cryptocurrency is exactly the same. If a crypto project has an unlimited supply of tokens that can be created out of thin air, if the token has no real use case or utility, and if the distribution is heavily skewed towards a few insiders, then its long-term value is incredibly weak. It doesn't matter how good the marketing is, how much hype is on social media, or how flashy the website looks. Weak tokenomics will eventually lead to failure. So, what is the core idea here? At its heart, tokenomics is all about incentives. It's about creating a balanced system of rewards and consequences. Good tokenomics creates a beautiful alignment where everyone involved benefits. The users who participate in the network are rewarded. The developers who build and maintain the project are compensated fairly. And the entire network becomes more secure and valuable over time because everyone is incentivized to act in its best interest. Bad tokenomics, on the other hand, does the exact opposite. It creates a system that primarily rewards the early insiders and the small group of venture capitalists, often at the expense of the everyday user who comes in later. It encourages short-term thinking and pump-and-dump schemes rather than long-term, sustainable growth. This brings us to another crucial distinction. Technology versus economics. A lot of people get these two mixed up. The blockchain technology tells you how the system works on a technical level. It's the engine, the code, the infrastructure. But the tokenomics tells you if that system makes any economic sense. You can have the most brilliant, groundbreaking, and revolutionary blockchain technology ever created. But if you pair it with terrible tokenomics, like an infinite supply and no reason to hold the token, the project is still doomed to fail. In the world of crypto, a fundamental law always holds true. Bad economics will always win in a bad way. The economic incentives will always overpower the technology in the long run. So, why do so many beginners lose money in crypto? It almost always comes down to ignoring tokenomics. They jump into a project because they saw a tweet or a YouTube video hyping it up. They don't check the total supply of the token. They completely ignore something called vesting schedules, which is just a fancy term for when large amounts of tokens held by insiders are unlocked and can be sold on the market. They follow the hype instead of the fundamentals. They buy into a project without asking the simple question: if I'm buying, who is selling to me? Is it another retail investor, or is it a founder who is about to dump millions of tokens that just unlocked? Understanding tokenomics is your shield. It's your defense against these common, and often costly, mistakes. This video is just the beginning. It's part 1 of a whole series dedicated to crypto fundamentals. Over the next few videos, we're going to break down every single aspect of tokenomics, step by step. You'll learn about the different types of tokens, like utility tokens and governance tokens. We'll dive deep into supply mechanics, inflationary versus deflationary models. We'll explore distribution methods and why they matter so much. We'll cover staking, burning, and other mechanisms that influence a token's value. Most importantly, I shall show you exactly how to spot the red flags in a project's tokenomics before you even think about hitting that buy button. My promise to you is this: no confusing jargon. No overly complicated theories, just simple, practical facts that you can use to become a smarter, more confident investor. Think of it this way: tokenomics is the absolute foundation of smart crypto investing. If you can grasp these concepts, you're already miles ahead of most other people in the market. You'll be able to filter out the noise, avoid the hype-driven traps, and focus on projects with real, sustainable potential. In the very next video, part 2, we're going to get practical. We'll dive into how these specific tokenomic mechanics, like supply and distribution, directly impact the price of a crypto. You'll see exactly how a high token supply can suppress prices, and how a well-designed token burn can create value. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this helpful and want to continue learning, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss part 2. Let's build that foundation together. See you in the next one.